Welcome to the Numerology Podcast. I am your host, Novalee Wilder. I'm a professional numerologist and writer. And in this podcast, we're just going to nerd out, which means we're going to talk names, we're going to talk numbers, numerology, astrology, the connections between the different esoteric fields. We'll do case studies and so much more. At the end of the episode, please make sure to visit my website, novaleewilder.com, where you can find out more about numerology and yourself. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you're subscribed so that you're always the first to know when each episode is released. Also, please take the time to review the podcast so that more people can find us and nerd out with us. To talk about the episode or suggest a topic for future episodes, find me on Instagram at Novalee Wilder or at the Numerology Podcast and share your thoughts. Thank you so much for being a listener of the Numerology Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the forecast for 2021. That's right, baby. We are out of 2020. We are now fully into a new year. Now, this might be the first numerology forecast you've ever listened to, or you could be one of my most avid listeners. Either way, thank you for letting me into your ears. As this is a yearly forecast, I thought we would go into a bit more detail. So grab a hot or cold beverage, settle in, find a blanket, because we're going to go through the numerology forecast for 2021. So a forecast for the world, we're looking at both the global yearly vibration, which is 5 this year, because 2021 is 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1. That's a 5. There is also a specific lesson for all of us in the 21. And then we have the monthly themes that are connected to the signs of the zodiac. But those I go through in the monthly forecast, so we'll just pick a few peak moments to talk about for this year. So 2021 is a 5-year in numerology, which means it's connected to the planet Mercury, the sun signs of Gemini and Virgo, and everything that this planet and these signs represent will be in focus this year. So every number shows us a spectrum of energy, and based on how at home we feel in this spectrum, we will have an easier or tougher time navigating it. So there's a lot of themes connected to the 5 this year. Money, trade, travel, balance, adjustment, justice, new treaties and negotiations, legal matters, lawsuits resolved in a way that impacts the masses, restructuring of travel, communication, information pathways, the gifts and pitfalls of technology, originality and blessing your spaces and creations, mental health, sleep patterns, and the nervous system, speaking truth to power. These are some of the themes that are in focus this year. Now, even though 2021 comes with a rush of new energy and a very welcome shift from the more rebellious, unpredictable, and transformational energy of 2020, the first wave of this new year has to do with exhaustion, surrender, and loss. A 5-year will always welcome new ideas and be the perfect time to start a business or to change or advance your career and to reach new people. Yet we can't really do any of these things without having to kill some of our darlings. Because if our hands and heads and hearts are filled with nostalgia and a longing for safety, or we have like a white-knuckled grip on the steering wheel, we will be paralyzed when faced with new input. So if your life is filled with expired decisions, you're dealing with a business or a boss that just refused to adapt to the new status quo, or if you're kind of just treading water, hoping for someone to come and save you, it's kind of time to let that dream die. We have to adapt, and adaptability is one of the gifts of this 5 energy, and one of the key lessons that we can both learn from, and that anyone born on the 5th, 14th, or 23rd has as part of their life theme. They're born to go with the flow. They're born to show us how that's done. And I know that this might not be the most uplifting intro to this new year, but trust me, good things are on their way, and you making space for them to land in your lap is imperative. Now, January would be a great month to sort your finances. Look at long-term investments. This is Capricorn season. Look at your pension. Look at your financial future. And if these are areas that just kind of make your eyes glaze over and you feel super challenged, use your network. Ask for help. Really just reach out and say, like, this is challenging for me. Even if you just need someone to be on a Zoom call while you go through your accounts, or if you need to upgrade a bookkeeper, it really is the time to ask for help and use your network. Also, I would say save money now so future you can invest in worthwhile experiences and causes. On a global level, both the leaders that have failed to take care of their duties and the ones who have excelled in the past year will experience challenges when it comes to reopening and reimagining a world that has changed our physical interactions. So we can just expect further tantrums and misinformation. It's just to be expected. I know we want to just turn the page, but the years are connected. This is just kind of what happens. Because after a year like 2020, the feelings of lack and uncertainty, and especially the way we talk about the future, can be a bit bleak. So if you find yourself or the people around you triggered and kind of reverting to doubt when building and planning new projects, and maybe going is it even worth to plan something? So make sure that the air is cleared. Make sure that everyone gets to voice their concerns, because people will feel less of a need to prepare for the worst when their feelings are validated and their perspective included. And that goes for you too. So if you can't air your doubts in whatever group you're in, maybe therapy or a trusted friend would be really beneficial. This is also the year for masterminds and getting together in groups, and not the kind of year where you have to do it all by yourself. June this year, we'll see more focus on mergers, community, and the sharing of resources. And questions that we will be asking ourselves in June, but we should be asking them right now. How do we do business? What is the cost of progress? How do we travel and keep our footprint light? And I don't just mean in terms of waste and fuel. I also mean in terms of culture that we disturb or have an influence on, or that we take for granted. There's a theme here about being sensitive to the joys and needs of others. A 5-year indicates that we can expect a quick return or a quick response on our investments. So if you need to negotiate a raise or jump into entrepreneurship, you'll realize repeatedly that having proof of the value you provide makes it so much easier for others to reward and recommend you to others. So this is also a time to kind of gather proof. Social proof, physical proof, whatever you can get your hands on. Because you should not wait for others to offer you opportunities. They should find you already building your dreams. You should be going to your boss with a stack of proof of your value. Yeah, especially if you want to ask for a raise, or maybe you want to keep working from home if that's possible. Whatever solution to whatever challenge you have will come from you. Don't expect someone else to knock on your door and say I got the solution. You come to other people with the solution. So this year will make you aware of the endless possibilities and shapes a project can take. So please be adaptable. Don't paint yourself or your ideas into a corner. By having our foundation thoroughly shaken last year, we will have to make sure that everything we build is robust, sustainable, and in line with our values. Money talks, and this year you should make sure to invest aggressively in the future you want to see for yourself and others. With Mercury ruling this year, there will be more room for celebration of achievement and success. And depending on your own relationship with praise and recognition, You could choose to become more visible or join in the celebration and the success of others. This also pertains to the fight for equality, human rights, and acceptance of our different life experiences. So celebrate other people. That's a note for 2021. Celebrate other people. Cancel culture, it just needs to be canceled. The world is not black and white. We have to accept our different life experiences. So towards the end of 2021, there will be an emphasis on being accountable for your actions. Justice will be served, and the people who've decided to ignore their moral compass will meet the consequences of their actions. So this adjustment theme it's not based on like blind faith or conviction. It's based on facts and the balance of power. So there's a theme about truth and fairness and collective healing, and it happens after some radical responsibility is taken. This is also a year where we will face our spending of energy and money and resources, and where most progress will be made from like honest work and like really speaking our truth. 2021 will in many ways be a lighter year than 2020, but the grounded energy that last year had, and many of us were quite literally grounded at home or unable to travel by plane, this energy will be replaced by something that can make it hard to turn off your brain and rest. So really take care of your sleep and relaxation patterns in 2021. Because this energy just can make it challenging to let go of like mind puzzles and anxiety patterns. And we will also see reactions to 2020 in 2021. So when some of the pressure gets taken off, the body has time to respond, and you might find that you will be reacting in 2021 to what happened last year. Another theme this year is mastery, and this comes from the 21 theme. So a 5-year points to the exchange of ideas and knowledge, and the 21 points to a theme about valuing wisdom over authority. So if you've been studying and find yourself questioning your teacher, you're triggered by their authority, it might mean that you have it in you to become a teacher yourself, or a sharer of knowledge and wisdom. So mastery of a field often means that we've come so far in our journey that we can now apply the lessons from one field to another. So stepping deeper into the role of a wisdom keeper means that you look beyond the pages of a book or words of a teacher and into the core messages and structures behind them. What are the foundational principles and highest ideals that you strive towards and build upon? What is the message you want to share, and how do you want it to be spread? So whether or not you're about to embark on a new path of learning, you're nearing the halfway mark of a course, or you're at the absolute pinnacle of your career, this year is the right time to embrace your own mastery in full, even if that means failing in some way. And I'm going to share a quote here from Mastery by Robert Greene. And the quote is, "There are 2 kinds of failure. The first comes from never trying out your ideas because you are afraid, or because you're waiting for the perfect time. This kind of failure you can never learn from, and such timidity will destroy you. The second kind comes from a bold and venturesome spirit. If you fail in this way, the hit that you take to your reputation is greatly outweighed by what you learn. Repeated failure will toughen your spirit and show you with absolute clarity how things must be done." That's a great quote. It's a very 2021 quote. This year ends with a focus on the juxtaposition of contracts and gifts. As we examine what will also be quite a memorable year, we reflect on the cycle we're halfway through, because the global cycles are 9 years long, and at the end of 2021, we will be more than halfway through an important one that started in 2017. Now, many things will be born in 2021. Lots of babies also. But the best ones will be gifts and unique contributions that could have only happened through you. If anything feels like an unfair contract, and whether it be in business, relationships, spiritually, maybe it's time for you to end and release your lineage from its limitations. And this is my segue into saying that my calendar is already filling up with name change sessions for people, children, babies, and businesses. And if you feel like 2020 showed you some challenges and you feel ready to step into this new year with a new name, head to NovaleeWilder.com and figure out if a name change session is in the future for you. That was it for this numerology forecast for 2021. Make sure, if you enjoy the podcast, to subscribe so that you're always the first to know when each episode is released. And please take the time to review the podcast so that more people can find it and nerd out with us. If you want to talk about this episode or suggest a topic for future episodes, find me on Instagram at Novalee Wilder or at the Numerology Podcast and share your thoughts. Thank you so much for being a listener of the Numerology Podcast.